Hello and welcome to Sports Tower Talk. I'm your host, Elijah Loyola. We are covering the Minnesota Vikings of the NFC North Division. If you watched my last two videos that I posted earlier today between the Bears and the Packers, thank you for the views, and make sure to head to my Instagram post to see their final mock drafts and let me hear your thoughts over there. As for the Vikings, they finished last season 9-8, which is unprecedented considering the fact they had to juggle between two rookie quarterbacks and Carson Wentz. Head coach Kevin McDonald still found a way to pull out 9 wins last year despite a tumultuous season, but a lot of breakout moments through their year. In any case then, the Vikings have a lot of questions to be answered, especially at the quarterback spot and whether or not J.J. McCarthy is truly the answer for them. But they did bring in much needed competition to see what their answers are at the quarterback spot. For now, let's take a look at who they brought in and what other players they did sign during the free agency period. Like the Packers, the Vikings didn't do much during the free agency period, but they did bring in some quarterback competition and re-sign some of their players to keep them under the cap and are looking forward to the draft to bring in most of their capital in. For the quarterbacks, they did re-sign Carson Wentz to a 1-year deal, and they also brought in quarterback Kyler Murray to compete for the starting job with J.J. McCarthy to see if Kyler gets the second chance he deserves or if JJ is the answer for QB1. They also revised Aaron Jones' contract that lowered his salary down, but they were able to keep him on for the next season. They also did bring in Ryan Van Denmark to help beat the offensive line for better protection and opening the running game more. As for their defense, they did a good job in bringing back linebacker Eric Wilson on a 3-year deal and signing in veterans James Pierre on a 2-year deal and bringing back safety Tavier Thomas, who had a nice season in Minnesota's secondary. It is hard to say whether or not what the Vikings' plans going forward for the QB1 spot is, whether it would be Carson Wentz or between J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray battling out for the QB1 spot. But aside from that, there are a lot of other positions that needed to be addressed, especially with the safety position. Harrison Smith is going to head into his 15th season, whether or not he decides to, but the Vikings have designated him as a post-June 1st cut. So it's not officially retirement, but the safety position will be needed to address. So let's take a look at the mock draft that I've set up for the Vikings to see who they would draft at safety and what they will do going forward for their team. In this mock draft for the Vikings, they would have 8 draft picks to use. Starting on the first round, they would trade up to the 15th pick to select Mansour Delane to help improve that secondary. And in the second round, needing some running back help and youth, they would draft Jadarian Price, the running back out of Notre Dame. And the third round is where they would get their next future safety after Harrison Smith's departure in Bud Clark from TCU. They would also bring some wide receiver help in Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati and another tight end in Josh Cuevas from Alabama. And as for the last 3 picks in the 7th round, they would use it on defense for their first 2, in a linebacker and defensive lineman with Jimmy Rolder and Tyler Oyendem, and then the 7th round, draft a rookie quarterback to be an emergency option, in my opinion, which most likely the case will be. So they would have 4 quarterbacks between Wentz, McCarthy, Murray, and Cole Payton. In my opinion, it makes a lot of sense for the Vikings to first improve their secondary by drafting a corner and safety in the first 2 rounds. The running back selection also does make sense for them in getting Jadarian Price to help bring that running game to life, especially that Ty Chandler now left the team, leaving Aaron Jones to be the starting role himself, along with any other running back on the roster. But Jadarian Price can easily become that RB2 behind Jones and maybe an eventual RB1. But for now, let's start off by talking about the LSU cornerback who was selected in the 15th overall pick. Delane being a 5'11", 187-pound prospect, he is a versatile and technically sound corner whose sticky coverage ability and playmaking skills establish him as the top-ranked cornerback in the draft. He shows ideal length with excellent coverage, has great press coverage with disciplined technique, and can mirror routes with fluid hips and quick feet. He also shows that he has intelligent positional routes and route anticipation, while showing strong football IQ to diagnose offensive concepts and can handle assignments to handle top receivers. For Price, as a 5'10", 203-pound prospect, he He is an explosive and dynamic running back whose elite speed and big playability made him one of the more intriguing prospects in the draft. He shows top-end speed with a 4.49 40 time, exceptional elusiveness, forcing 30 missed tackles, and has 5 career 65-plus yard touchdowns that display his big playability in 2025. He has 0 career drops as a receiver, showing his reliable hands, has excellent lateral cut to change directions, and has a strong pass protection in his career despite his limited role in Notre Dame playing behind Jordan Love. He also has a versatile playmaking ability to contribute on special teams, in which he had 2 career kickoff return touchdowns and averaged 37.5 yards per return. Price would already become a big impact for that offense and in the running game as well to play alongside Aaron Jones and give the quarterbacks a much needed help. As for the final player, we were talking about safety Bud Clark, who was selected 99th overall. As a 6', 180 pound player, he is a 3-time captain with great ball production that makes him one of the most prolific turnover creators in the safety class. He finished his career at TCU with 15 interceptions, 19 pass breakups, and 191 tackles, showing his great production and a much needed career why Minnesota would take this player. His size and length does help him cover receivers and tight ends. He also shows a strong QB reading ability for a defender and is a willing run supporter who will deliver physical hits and can navigate blocks. In my opinion, Bud Clark will be a nice selection for the Minnesota Vikings to fill in for the spot once Harrison Smith is released by the Vikings. It could be somebody else, but in my final mock draft for the Vikings, I do have a different player, and I will mention that later on. The Vikings really do have a lot of things on their minds, especially of what to do coming for next season, but the expectation, in my opinion, is that they're probably going to have another 9-win season like they did last year. They won't make the playoffs next season, but it will be a turning point to see whether or not the quarterback situation is fixed and if the defense can rebound like they did last year. And that's what I mentioned earlier in my final mock draft for the Minnesota Vikings. Instead of getting Bud Clark, I do have them selecting Dylan Thielman with the 18th overall selection. If you want to see the rest of the final mock draft for the Vikings, go ahead to my Instagram and look up Sports Tavern Talk and see who the Vikings would select in the final mock draft ahead of the NFL draft. That's all the time for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a like and comment the video with your thoughts. And make sure to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and on X. And please go ahead and check out the rest of the final mock drafts for the other teams on my Instagram as well. And stay tuned for the final video for the Detroit Lions coming up very soon. And as always, I will see you next time.